Hey, ladies and gents, welcome back to today's edition of Notre Dame Daily. I'm Pete Mulroy. And as many expected, I sort of hinted at this yesterday and the day before, Irish head coach Marcus Freeman absolutely plans to involve himself more with his group's defense, which ranks near the bottom of multiple major statistics in FBS through 2 weeks. That includes explosive plays given up, yards per game allowed, and total defense. The Irish surrendered 27 points and 41 in their first two losses of the season to Miami and Texas A&M, respectively, as we know, while looking out of sorts in multiple areas on that side of the ball. And as I did note yesterday, the insertion of KVA and Tay Johnson into the starting lineup should bolster both the pressure put on the QB of the opposition and coverage on the back end. But Coach Freeman placing a good chunk of his effort on that side of the ball, given his background, especially since the offense seems to be in great place, is probably a good idea. Freeman said he would look at all areas of the team after Saturday's loss, but it should come as no surprise that he may now be leaning toward keeping more watchful eye on his defensive unit, as Chris Ash's defensive system has struggled to be absorbed by its players. This was an Irish unit, folks, as many of you know, that was fourth in the country a season ago in points allowed, but now finds itself in horrific territory in that regard, as we know. Additionally, the Irish allowed the Aggies to average over 21 yards per completion in the loss Saturday, a statistic that's absolutely going to need to change if this bunch is to play winning football the remaining Saturdays on the schedule. And I'll talk more about that in the final segment today. Stopping the explosive plays, as Freeman noted, is going to be an essential part of that. The same can be said for developing a pass rush. And with the pass rush, by the way, you don't always have to get the sack. You just have to disrupt the pocket for the passer, and for more stationary quarterbacks, get them on the move. Creating chaos is huge from your D-line and second-level players. And perhaps if Coach Freeman's able to bring his defensive background to the group on a more consistent basis while not totally taking away his obviously huge priorities as head coach, maybe we'll start to see the Irish defense, the one that we expected to see prior to August 31st. So I think that's absolutely a positive that it's out there. Coach Freeman knows what needs to be done. And you heard me say yesterday, I mean, there's got to be accountability, across both ends of this. You can't just say, it's not the scheme, it's the execution. I don't agree with that. There's got to be a little bit of both. If you're putting something out there and it's not working and you don't change, the problems are just going to exacerbate. And I think that's what we're sort of flirting with here going into the Purdue game. Yes, execution is a huge part of it. Silly mistakes, shoddy tackling, being out of position. Okay, fine. But you have to have that plan that is absorbed by one cohesive unit. And right now, that's not the case. Perhaps Coach Freeman taking more of an active role in the defense will help change that. One thing I think we all did enjoy offensively was the run game, as expected. It was good to see that two-headed monster of Love and Price get theirs. And while it's been great to see Eli Raritan heavily involved in the passing game along with Jeremiah Love, you'd still want the likes of Jordan Faison, Will Pauling, and of course Jaden Greathouse added in more consistently. But one of the major positives in the passing game Saturday was the connection between C.J. Carr and Malachi Fields. For as much speed as the Irish have on the outside, Fields brings them weaponry in the size department. At 6'4", 223, the Virginia transfer gives the Irish a legitimate physical presence on the outside who can go up and get the football while possessing solid hands. Yes, the turnover against Miami, I know it wasn't great, but Fields showed that he can be a reliable source of production for Carr, who from game 1 to 2 under center showed steps in the right direction, even with a lousy interception, which he's going to learn from. There's been progression game 1 to 2 with C.J. Carr. That's an undeniable fact. If Mike Denbrock and the Irish offense keep feeding this connection between C.J. and Malachi, good things are going to continue to come. This offense has too much firepower to be held back. And now that running game has its confidence back, and we've seen what Carr Fields can do when working in unison, it's going to be fun to watch the relationship develop moving forward. I mean, if that was the bar at Texas A&M, I mean, you did a damn good job. 40 points against a good SEC defense. Now getting your primary transfer target on offense, Malachi Fields, more comfortable in the Notre Dame offense. I mean, sky's the limit here, and I'm really looking forward. I think many of us are, to seeing what the connection, yes, between C.J. Carr and Eli Raritan is going to continue to be, and getting those other guys involved, but really what it's going to look like with Malachi Fields being one of your top dogs on the outside. I think it's exciting, and I think it's going to be a great mix. This weekend, the Irish host a Purdue team under the direction of first-year head coach Barry Odom. And while the Boilermakers, much like future Irish opponent Stanford, are in something of a transitional phase this season, you might have seen over the weekend, they showed well in Saturday's loss to USC, who again, Notre Dame is going to play in just a couple of weeks. Under the direction also of offensive coordinator Josh Henson, the Boilermakers offense has looked much improved from seasons past. I don't think there's much doubt there. Led this year by quarterback Ryan Brown, who quite simply, folks, can sling it. The black and gold have done a fairly good job in moving the football through the air, and they're also averaging nearly 6 yards a carry on the ground. Brown has thrown for 300 plus in 2 of the 3 contests this season. Purdue will enter Saturday's game with the Irish, again, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time start, with a 2-1 record, and one of those 300-yard games for Brown came this past weekend in the loss to the Trojans. If Notre Dame secondary here does not play more physical, and with that lockdown mentality, again, having Johnson on the field much more, and the hopeful return of Devontae Smith will help, then it could spell trouble for the Irish. You don't get that, you've got problems. However, Brown does have a tendency to turn the ball over, toss 3 interceptions against USC, a big reason why Purdue actually lost that game at home. For Notre Dame, though, getting pressure off the edge, minimizing those big plays, or how about not allowing them at all, and causing Brown to make quick decisions due to said pressure will only aid the defensive effort as a whole. The defensive line simply just can't allow this guy to sit back there and pick him apart. We saw that with Beck. We saw that this past weekend with Reed. Especially when you think about Leonard Moore, who should be ready to roll, is a bit banged up regardless. Do that, coupled with the continued growth of what looks to be a tremendous offense, as I just said. And the Irish will be very much in line to pick up their first win of the season. Again, they're a monster favorite, but that doesn't always add up to wins or factor in losses. You're at minus 26.5 again, last I checked. You got to go out and win the ball game. And you're going to do that by applying pressure on Ryan Brown. You cannot let him sit back there and pick you apart. Otherwise, it can create added problems that this Irish defense and this Irish team right now just don't need. I mean, you're a couple of plays away and boneheaded mistakes from being 2-0 at worst, 1-1. You go into this one 0-2. You got to come out with the W. And look, honest conversation, is the college football playoff a pipe dream? No. Is it going to take a monster effort and some help? Without a doubt. If you look at the remaining schedule starting this weekend for Notre Dame, and including this weekend for Notre Dame, it's reasonable to believe the Irish will be favored in every game, at least at this moment in time. And while there are some games on the schedule you might consider victories, fine, if you like to do that, go right ahead. Road trips to Arkansas, Boston College, along with home contests, the likes of Boise State, USC, and Syracuse, are not going to be walks in the park. Arkansas offense got game. Saw that this past weekend, as does USC. But if the Irish offense plays the way it did last weekend, minus the errant interception by Carr, and if the defense wakes up, then why not? It's definitely frustrating to think about, again, what could be at this point in time, especially dropping the first 2 games by a combined 4 points against top 10 opponents, games you could have won late without silly mistakes and a passive approach. Now, if the Irish play the brand of football we know, capital K-N-O-W, this team can play, then why not? It starts this weekend at home against Purdue. Now, you just got to go one game at a time and pick up one victory at a time. I'll see you tomorrow. A couple shows left this week, and then we get into Purdue. Have a great night, and as always, go Irish.